Hi friends, welcome back. This is JJ over at Budget by JJ, and it has been a very hot, long minute. Oh my gosh. Where have I been? What's been happening? What do I still think about cash budgeting? All the things we're going to get into today. So I really thank you so much for coming back, clicking on this video. I have been in a year of bliss for 2024. So essentially what I thought was going to be my year to take care of business ending up being a year where I just was like frivolously spending on things that really, even though they do bring me joy, it's not really obviously a necessity. I was only cheating myself from taking care of real actual business this time around. We all fall off the bandwagon every now and then, and so this is going to be my third attempt at this cash budgeting business for 2025. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season and that they had a great new year. Because of what I fear is to come for the new year, I thought it'd be a lot more important this time around to really get myself into a position where I am debt free this year. That is my ultimate goal. And then from that point on, then we can go ahead and start talking about saving challenges and all that stuff. So I have so many things I want to share with you today to do a budget reset. Allow me to introduce myself again. My name is JJ. I'm a millennial cash stuffer here in New York City. I live in the borough of Brooklyn. I work near downtown Brooklyn as an office administrator, full-time, 40 hours a week. I'm happy to say that I was blessed enough to get a pay raise this year, along with a bonus that came and went because it was already allocated. I'm excited to share what that went to, but I also want to go ahead and talk about setting up some cash envelopes. And we're actually going to do some cash counting for my first month's rent. Rent did go up this year. I was paying $17.41 and then it went up to $18.33 because I signed a 2-year lease. Again, because of economic uncertainties, I did not want to be like trying to find a place and deal with the move within a year. Plus, I also started a certificate program back in late November and it's going through end of May, so like I really have to get down and buckling on that. Essentially, I am a collector. I love collecting multiple fandoms, Funkos, Loungeflies, artwork, you name it. If it's correlating to something that I'm hyperfixating on, I'm getting it. That's actually where I was last year. So I was putting on pause, paying off debt to indulge in my collecting habits. So because of that, I am now sunsetting on the collecting so I can go ahead and take care of business this year because I just think it's very important to go ahead and get my financial house in order. We talked about hyperfixation. One of my hyperfixations is Stranger Things. I'm really excited for Stranger Things. So being in New York, I was really excited to find out that Stranger Things, The First Shadow, was coming to Broadway. This was a stage production that premiered in the West End in London. It's going to be here in the US at the end of March. And so for my birthday, I ended up buying 2 premiere Broadway tickets to see this show. So that's what a portion of my bonus had gone to. So let's talk about my cash binder. Here's my budget sheet. You can already see here I've written out some items that I've already procured for the year, which is the rent and the deposit. The rent went up to $1833.45, and the deposit for the 2-year is $91.46, giving us a total of $1,924.91. And then post this, because this was already pre-planned last December, my rent is going to be cut in half because that's generally how I like to budget for my rent, is that every 2 weeks I go ahead and take out half. So that's what we'll continue doing here. So come the 10th, $458.25 will be what I will be allocating for the next month of rent, which will be February, which I always get a money order. So I have these receipts. Something fun, I ended up making myself with these teller notes so I can go ahead and tell them what kind of bills, how many I need. So I kind of figured out now like how that's done. I was wondering how people were allocating the dollar amounts without like getting confused. I finally, after watching enough videos, figured out how people were actually budgeting, how that worked. And so now this will be a lot easier for me. So I just made enough for the pay period. So if this runs out, it's okay. I still have a copy. I can make more, but it's just something fun that I can give them. So it's not like a post-it note like I did before. As far as categories go, I took some out. I thought I was going to be a zero base budgeter, right? That's what they're called, where you allocate every single cent. But my lifestyle just does not accommodate that. I always need a buffer for some case where something comes up. But that's, you know, the mentality of someone that doesn't have it together. That being said, that would be a nice goal, but it's just not going to be a reality for me at this moment. So we still have the bills one, because obviously this is where I want to allocate for the rent. Utilities I will still be keeping. So I just have gas and electric because the water is included in the rent. Debt. This is going to actually be for personal debt. Like I was just telling you, I'm a collector, so I was mainly using those like pay in 4 apps so I can, you know, budget what in my mind was like, oh, I'm not paying a lot because I'm breaking it up. But then when I look at the total amount, which I did, I went back last and kind of went through how I purchased, and every like 100 that I was breaking up added up really quickly, and I was like spending money within the thousands on the collection, which is not sustainable. This debt, anything I put here, is going to go towards something that I've already owned, and you're just going to see it as a flashpoint, and it's going to be gone because that money has already been accounted for. Personal is going to be like my personal money that I can spend whatever I want on. So whether that's $50 for the week or it's $200 for the week, doesn't matter. It's just going to be a personal fund for me to use, so you know I can have a little more flexibility. Lastly is savings. I want to save a lot, but my initial goal is to at least have some semblance of savings. I do have $1,000 saved already. I immediately took that bonus and like put that there. You have a high yield savings account with Capital One, so I really just wanted to make sure that I was able to use that to its fullest potential this year. So there's already $1,000 sitting in the bank, and then anything I add, at least a minimum of $100 per paycheck, will go here, and then we'll, you know, add it up as we go along. Speaking of debts, I have a whopping 8 credit cards currently. Now, it will be down to 7 pretty soon. I'll explain that in a second. But what we're going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and label the envelopes that you can see that I have here. So these are the labels. Here are the envelopes. A credit card with Credit One, which is one of the worst creditors that you can get. They really go after people like myself in the beginning who really have nothing to their name. It's just extremely hawkish how they do things. So this is a priority that I wanted to go ahead and clear out the Credit One. This Credit One, I was approved for a second one, but they gave me one. Before we get too far, I'm going to show you how I'm going to use these cash envelopes. On this respective one, there is a balance of $982. So what I'm going to do is write here $982. Okay. Then I'm going to do a little rectangle and a line. Then I'm going to put in the amount that I've allocated to pay off this, and then check it along as I go. And so on and so forth. Okay, this might not be ideal for a lot of people, but the moment I paid off that, I'll be able to write the new balance. This is how I'm going to keep track here to pay off this balance. And I really want to pay off the Credit Ones first because they have the highest APR, and they're the ones that are really killing me and that I'm paying a lot more on than I should. So that's the 982 one. Balance on the second one is $939.87. The next one is Hot Topic. Now this is my store card. The funniest thing, I told you I was going from 8 cards to 7 cards. I actually got a letter from Hot Topic letting me know that they're actually going to discontinue their store card, and which is kind of shocking because I was like, it's kind of like Macy's discontinued their card, but I guess there's just not enough demand or people that are using the card to make it relevant anymore. So this has a balance of $284. This one I want to pay off before the Credit Ones. Like I'm going to pay the minimum to the Credit Ones, but this one I have to pay off immediately before they close it in April. Otherwise I'm going to still owe, and I don't want any of that headache. And $284 is fairly low that I can just knock that out. The card you may not be aware of is called Fortiva, and they approved me really well. It's a card that I got recommended through Credit Karma. Kind of got suckered into it, but I needed it for, line of credit. I virtually had no credit history up until like maybe 8 years ago. Anything that would help, but again, I could not resist myself and I spent on this card. The Fortiva has a balance of $1,031.46. The next one is my Chase card, which I was kind of shocked I got approved for this level of Chase card that I got. And I love this Chase card. It has tons of benefits that I'm not able to use because this card is virtually maxed out. So I need to go ahead and take care of this so I can actually start using this card smartly and not just, putting it off to the side and paying the bare minimum. This also is my highest balance card. So this is $3,499.50. It's so crazy. Like, how do we get here, Through negligence. That's how. So I'm really not going to follow by Snowball or Avalanche. It's really just going to come down to what's charging me the highest APR and taking care of that. Now we have Capital One, which is different from Credit One. Capital One is big out here on the East Coast. And at first I thought they were just strictly a credit card company because I'm from California originally. But and out here it's like, oh no, they have a cafe and everything. Anyway, these are some of my smaller credit cards because, I was doing the whole credit builder type situation. So the first one here has a balance of $311.04. Really? That's weird. So yes, and then this one has a minimum payment due on the 16th. So I have to be on top of this one. Then I have another Capital One card. That's the Quicksilver card. This originally was a Walmart partnership card, but they have discontinued that. And so that card got turned into a Quicksilver card. So this one also has its benefits to it, much like the Chase. But again, I'm not able to take advantage of them because of the balance. $274.97. I'm just looking here at my cheat sheet. Then I have my final Capital One card. Yes, I have 3 Capital One credit cards, which is crazy. And this is also who gave me the high yield savings account. So, I can't be too mad. But anyhow, this one also has a balance of $593.07. So when you see stuff like this, where it's all irregular, it's because it's starting to accrue interest, and the interest is pushing it up and up. So I only like dealing with whole numbers. So that needs to be a 0, and we need to start seeing whole numbers. And excuse the rattiness of these envelopes. They're very old, but I'm glad I have them because you do not need to be buying everything under the sun on Etsy to be doing cash budgeting, okay? I don't ever want to, mess with anyone's income or their flow or talk negative about them, but it feels like once somebody gets big doing this cash stuffing, they all have an Etsy shop and they all buy from one another, which I appreciate that for them. However, it's not really giving you the message of saving. I mean, gamifying how you save and do it for you, that's great, but at the same time, it's like you don't need to have everything so cute and aesthetic to reach your goals. So here we go, old school cash envelope way of discerning what's getting what and then having a way to track it. Okay, so this again will be what we're looking forward to in the future, and hopefully that we can get these to 0 sooner than later. Because my goal this year for 2025 is to be debt free. And here are my chains right here, all 8 of them. So in order for these to actually be a useful tool, I need to go ahead and make sure that I'm not using the tool against me. Now, I will have some sinking funds coming up. I'm not going to get too caught up in the sinking funds as far as what's to come. I already have planned out essentially what's going to be from here through April, because the 2 biggest things is my birthday in late March and my partner's birthday in mid-April. So I had gotten the Broadway tickets for myself as a celebration for my birthday, and then I had actually spent money on a hotel trip for my partner's birthday, so we're gonna have a go away weekend. All that, you know, is accounted for. Definitely talk more about it as we get closer to that time. The budget as it is, and then the cash envelopes for the debts is really what will be the main focus going forward. Because once we actually make some great headway, I would love to go ahead and start doing some of these savings challenges that I've created for myself. You don't need to go buy a savings challenge book or anything like that. Just a little ingenuity, some copying and pasting, a little work on Canva. It's not really hard. A lot of your favorite creators out there use these tools, and you know, because you don't have the skill set or the know-how, you know, you just kind of fall into those traps. But this was something super simple for me to set up, which was this 10,000 12-month savings challenge. So they don't have denominations. There are 24 spaces here, and that somehow is going to equal to 10,000. But I'm not going to be able to start this until I am debt free. Another savings challenge I want to do is a 3 months ahead challenge. So the 3 months ahead savings challenge, essentially to have 3 months worth of rent up saved, so just in case something happens, switching jobs, someone gets sick, my partner can't, you know, contribute because we do split the rent. We would have this little nest egg to hold us through until things work out, you know. So my goal is to have 3 months. My ultimate goal would have 6 months, but for now I wanted to go ahead and start planning for the 3 months. And 1,833, we're rounding up to 34 times 3, and that would be the number I'd be looking for. And I gave myself like 16 paychecks to make that happen. Another savings challenge I'd love to do is a 1-year Metro card savings challenge. We have Omni now, so it's an option where, you know, you can pay with your phone or you can pay with the Omni card. It's pretty much cashless payment. It's tap as you go. I believe it's going to go up to $3 per ride to use the subway. So I thought it'd be really cool to have 1 year savings of Metro savings, whether I actually use it for the Metro or not. But that's kind of the goal there. I honestly don't have to have a Metro savings challenge because my job does actually pay for my commute. I do pay for my Omni card, so that's factored into my work already. So they do cover that. Next is a Halloween $300 savings challenge. I went crazy this past Halloween buying a bunch of stuff. Some of the highlights was definitely going up to Sleepy Hollow for the Headless Horseman and all that wonderful legend stuff. And this year's focus is about, you know, investing in memories, not things. So being able to go to a parade or go to a haunting or a museum or something of some sort around that time would be cool. So I figured $300 would be enough, you know, because I don't really do much outside of reveling in the spooky. So $300 would be, I think, an ideal amount to stay with. Then the heavy hitter is Christmas. So this is my $500 Christmas saving challenges. I have here a bunch of Christmas trees. This would be ideal, $500. I think I spent close to $1,000 this year on gifts, all in total, on myself, my partner, friends. So I would definitely think that $500 is going to suffice. I definitely want to keep costs low. Again, this would be going to an outing. A lot of the food at the food markets are pretty expensive. So just to have $500 to kind of like do whatever during Christmas would be great. Also, that includes whatever I end up buying myself or my partner. And then finally here we're going to do the cash counting. I just dropped a coin, so like the change is irrelevant. I honestly would rather round up, and then when I end up pulling it out is like when I'll include the change. But outside of that, I like to just deal with whole numbers. So I hate change. So we have $1, $2, $3, $4, $20, so that's 24. Then we have the hundreds. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, $1,900. So in total for January's rent with the deposit is going to be $1,924.91. This is going to be not the norm going forward. I already showed you what that's going to look like as far as how I'm going to be allocating for the future. So next video I see you, we'll go ahead and do the very first cash stuffing. But this was just to go ahead and break the ice, get us motivated for 2025. I'm excited for all of you that are joining me. I'm grateful to all of you who are joining me. I really hope that this year brings us all much success and wealth and peace and happiness. I'm not abandoning you guys. I thank you so much for coming back to this video, coming back to the channel, seeing what's going on here. I really very much appreciate you. The total debt I did not mention that we must eradicate is $7,915.91. So once we clear that out, we can start making real changes and start taking seriously things going forward. Clock is ticking. It's really now or never. So again, I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.